Dear learners, I am Dr. Sonia Sharma, faculty in School of Tourism and Hospitality Services Management, IGNOU. In today's class, we will discuss about the constituents of tourism industry and tourism organization. So, we will discuss about the few major areas. For example, why tourism is being called an industry. Then we will discuss about the various constituents of tourism industry. Like in constituents, we have primary constituents, or we can say major constituents. Then we have secondary constituents. Then we will discuss about the interdependence of various constituents on each other. Then we will also discuss about the various types of tourism organizations. So first basic thing, like what is tourism? So tourism is a socio-economic phenomena. So this is very basic definition you can say. So tourism accounts for the single largest peaceful movement of people across the cultural boundaries of the world. Then as per the dictionary, the activity of visiting places for pleasure is tourism. Like people want to go to different places, they travel to different places, but the basic aim is just to get the pleasure. Like for example, you are tired from your routine life, day-to-day life, you're working somewhere, and at the end of the day, sometime you want a break from that environment, so you prefer to, okay, I will go to some hill stations, or maybe you prefer to go to beaches, or maybe some deserts. So this is how you want a break from your routine, so that you get a peace of mind. You want to break a few days, you want to rest and relax over there. So this is the basically purpose of tourism. And then there is a very important question, like what is tourism, like means whether tourism is an industry or what exactly it is. So tourism industry comprised of a broad range of businesses and organizations that are related to virtually all areas of economy. So the components include all suppliers of goods and services which the tourists require. So it includes suppliers of all goods and services. Some are directly related and some are indirectly related to the tourism. So few authors, they have given their definitions. For example, as per Kaiser and others, they advocated that there is no such thing as tourism industry. It is collection of several industries that function separately with various types of links with tourists. So as per Kaiser, they are saying it is not an industry. There are different things, different industries, they function separately, but they have links. Sometimes they have direct or they may have indirect links with the tourists. So these links can be incidental as well as purposeful, direct or indirect. So as per the another author, according to the Leper, the business of providing goods and services to meet the distinctive needs of some identifiable collection of tourists. So they cooperate with one another to some degree in doing so. So another author, as per the Robert Christie Mill, he states that tourism is not an industry, although tourism gives rise to variety of industries. Tourism is an activity engaged by people who travel from one place to another place. The next opinion given by the UN sources, they identified 7 industrial areas which could be regarded as belonging in different degrees to the tourist sector, although for the most part not concerned exclusively with tourism. Maybe they are directly or indirectly related to the tourism. These are, first is accommodation, then we have attraction management, then we have travel agents and tour operators, then restaurants, then passenger transport enterprises, manufacturers of handicrafts and souvenir design for visitors and related outlets, then agencies concerned with tourism. So this was all about the tourism industry, like what is tourism, what is the tourism industry. So next important thing is the constituents, like this topic is about the constituents of tourism industry. Now we will discuss about the constituents, like types of constituents. We have primary constituents, we have secondary constituents. We will discuss first about the what is constituents. The constituents of tourism industry are varied, ranging from small scale businesses operating at local level to the multinationals. For example, a fast food counter at an airport is the component of the tourism industry, as is an airline or a hotel for it, and it has its own serving purpose for the tourist. So you can see the difference, like a fast food operator is equally important as a airline or a hotel for the tourist, because they have their different serving for the tourist. Moreover, these different components are closely linked to each other. This linkages is there in spite of the competition within one set of constituents. For example, Hotel A and X are competitors, but both are dependent on tourist arrival through the airline, and for airline Y and Z are competitors, and so on. So this was all about the constituents. Now we will discuss the primary constituents first. There is a list of primary constituents. For example, transport, then we have accommodation, then catering, food and entertainment, then we have intermediaries, then we have the government departments. So these are the primary or the major constituents of tourism industry. Then similarly we have the secondary constituents. In secondary constituents we have shops and emporiums, then we have handicrafts and souvenirs, then local taxi and transportation, we have hawkers and coolies, then communication services at the destination, then touts and brokers are there, then we have advertisement agencies, those who advertise for the tourism destinations, then we have publishing industries, then we have artists, performers and musicians who perform for the entertainment of the tourists. So this was the list of the primary constituents and then the secondary constituents. Now one by one we will discuss about the primary constituents. For example, transport, accommodation I have discussed. So one by one I will explain each primary constituent. So first very important component is transport. So in transport, for example, you are traveling from one place to another place. So the basic thing, once you step out from your house, so first basic thing is the transport. You need a mode of transport to travel to a destination. So transport is the very basic thing you need to reach a destination. So you need a mode of transport to travel or to suggest one to your client if you are a travel agent or a tour operator. Further, the travel depends upon the availability of seats. Yes, it is very important. For example, if you are traveling by train, so you have to book your tickets in advance. You have decided one day advance you have to travel. So sometime if seats are not available, maybe you need to book the tickets by Tatkal. So same is the case with the airlines. If you will book your tickets in advance, maybe you will get the cheaper tickets, but if you will book the ticket in the last moment, so rates will be maybe double. So this is because it depends upon the availability of the seats. It can be in the case of airlines or in the case of train also. So you need to book the tickets in advance, otherwise you may get the expensive tickets or sometime no ticket at all. Then today this travel industry is a highly developed industry with its branches in the area of road, rail, air and water. As I told you, like if you are traveling for a short distance, so you may prefer the road transport instead of say rail or air. But if you are traveling to a far off places and your budget is limited, then you may prefer the rail transport rather than the airline. But if you have a short limited time with you and you have to just a weekend to go to a destination, so and that destination is far also, so in that case you may use the airlines. And this is the case of within country domestic tourism. But in case if you are planning to go to some other country, and in that case there is no choice, you have to use the air travel and sometimes water travel also if that connectivity is there. So it has its own perks to offer to the tourist. So this was all about the road transport. Then the second important constituent under the primary constituents, that is the accommodation. So once from one place to another place you have reached, there another important role is accommodation. You have reached a destination, so where you will stay, so that here comes the role of accommodation industry. So a tourist not only travels but also stays somewhere, and here comes the accommodation. It could be of different types, from cottages to tourist lodges to a houseboat or to a 5-star hotel. In accommodation we have variety of accommodation, like nowadays this homestay concept, it is very common. Many people they prefer to stay in the homestays, and because that is economic also, and secondly some people they want to know the real culture and lifestyle of that particular area, so that also you will come to know if you want to try the local food of that particular area. So this was all about the accommodation. Then the third important category, that is a catering, food and entertainment. So here comes the role of F&B. So a tourist has to eat also, and here comes the role of catering and food. So restaurants, fast food joints and dhabas, they all play a role in this regard with different cuisine to offer. You want to try some local cuisine also, so maybe you are not preferring all the meals in that hotel, you want to go to the streets, you want to go to that near destination of that particular area, so there you want to try the local food of that particular area, so you want to taste the local cuisine of that area, and yes, you can try over there. Similarly, sometimes you are traveling by road, so roadside dhabas are also there. Sometimes they also are famous for different things, different cuisine of that particular area. So you want to try the local cuisine, so you can go to that dhaba also. Fast foods are also very common. So these are the different categories of food and beverages. So other than F&B, there are different forms of entertainments are also provided as attraction at the destination. For the entertainment of the tourists, so different type of entertainments are especially designed for the tourists, so that at the end of the day, in the evening, sometimes they organize the cultural evenings for the entertainment of the tourists. They are the local performers, artists, they perform for the entertainment of the tourists. So this was all about the food and beverages and entertainment of the tourist. Then another important category of the primary constituents, that is intermediaries. The intermediaries constitute the travel agency, tour operators and guide services. So the constituents which correlate all the components of tourism is the travel agent and tour operator, who has accumulated knowledge, expertise and contacts with providers of services. So he is a useful and invaluable intermediary between the travelers on the one side and the supplier of tourist services on the other side. And in supplier, as you know, these are the airlines, then we have transport companies, then we hotels. So travel agent, it plays a very important role. We can say travel agent is a link between tourists on the one side and the supplier of services on the other side. So tourists, for example, they are planning to go to a particular destination. Sometimes they will go to travel agent, they buy a travel package. In that travel package, that travel agent or tour operator, they have provided all the services. In that, they have provided the services of transport, maybe tickets are available with that. Then they have the services of the hotels where you will stay over there, then local sightseeing in that particular area destination. So all the services, they club together in the form of tour package and they provide it to the tourists. So this is how the travel agent, they play a very important role. So we will just discuss few of the different functions of travel agency. For example, providing travel information to the tourist, then preparing itineraries, then liaising with providers of services, then planning and costing tour, then ticketing, which is very important basic function of a travel agency, then providing the foreign currency, insurance, etc. So this was all about the travel agent and tour operator. Then another important primary constituents, that is government departments, tourist information center and tourism organizations. So they also play a very important role, like many national and international organizations related to tourism form part of the tourism industry. For example, government departments, if you are planning to go to some other country for holidays, so you will need a passport for that. So for that you will go to the government department to get ready your passport, then you need the visa assistance for that. So here come the role of government departments. Similarly, tourist information center, they provide all the information related to destinations and other assistance which you need for the travel. So these were the 5 categories of the primary constituents, like transport, accommodation, intermediaries. Then we have discussed about intermediaries, we have discussed about the travel agent and tour operators, then the government department, tourist information center. So these all were the primary constituents. And then the second category is the secondary constituents. So in secondary constituents, there are variety of services, formal and non-formal, that constitute the tourism mix and are directly or indirectly related to tourism. Sometimes they are not directly related, but maybe indirectly they are catering the needs of the tourists. So that's why they come in the category of the secondary constituents. For example, banks don't come under the tourism industry, but they cater to tourists through traveler's check or credit cards. So we have the list of secondary constituents. So first is shops and emporiums, like these sell various products to tourists. Many state governments have opened the emporiums in other states also. So for example, in Delhi, we have seen there are emporiums of practically all the states on the Baba Khadak Singh mark, which display the art and craft of different states. Okay. Then second important category is the handicrafts and souvenirs. So certain handicrafts and souvenir industries today are totally dependent on the tourist for their sale. So you can see the importance, like how important tourists for this handicrafts and souvenir industry, because they are totally dependent on the tourists for their sale. Okay. Then the third important category is after that handicrafts and souvenirs, that is a local taxi and transportation. For example, you have reached a particular destination, but to travel within that destination or within that city, you need a local transport also. So here comes the role of local taxi wala, local transportation, maybe you can use a rickshaw, tonga, etc. So that local taxi wala is equally important to you, to a tourist, as is the airline, you can say, or is the as the hotel. They may come in the secondary constituent category, but they are equally important for the in providing the services to the tourist. Then another important category, that is the hawkers and coolies. Yes, they assist you in carrying your luggage from one place to another place, like porters. They are in the railway station, they help the tourists to carry their luggage. Then next one is the communication services at the destination. For example, you reached a place, so you want to inform your parents or relatives about, yes, you have reached safely. Here comes the role of communication services. You can use the previously STD booths used to be there, but now with the help of the smartphones, so you can call anywhere just throughout the country. So that service is there, but previously people used to use STD phones to inform their parents. Sometimes you need the internet services to send the email. So for that, like this is how the communication also communication service also help the tourist. Then next category is the touts and brokers. Yes, they are also indirectly helping the tourist. They inform about the hotel rooms, availability of rooms in that particular destination. Maybe you're new to a destination, so you want to get the, you don't know about the much hotels over there. Sometimes these touts, they help you. Yes, you can stay over there. This hotel is cheaper than the other one, so you can, so that you get the information. So this is how they are also helping the tourist. So next category is the advertisement agencies. Yes, they advertise for different destinations. They give information about the peak season, different offers, and other new destinations coming up. So they will advertise for them, so that more and more tourist people will come to know about that, so that they may travel, go over there. So then we have another category, that is the publishing industry. That is publishers who publishes for travel guides, brochures, magazines, postcards, etc. for the information of the tourist. So similarly, then another important secondary constituent is artists, performers, musicians. These all, they perform for the entertainment of the tourists, as I just explained in the previous slide also, that sometimes they organize the cultural evenings for the entertainment of the tourists, and that may also be included in your itinerary. Maybe at the end of the day, or maybe the second day, they have planned a cultural evening. So a group of tourists, they will take over there. For them, they will perform, give the different performances, maybe the local dance of that particular area, wearing the ethnic dresses for the entertainment of the tourist. So then next is United Nations study on the economic impact of tourism in India. It reveals the following are the segments having receipts from the tourism employment. So like we have discussed about the primary constituent and secondary constituents. Other than that, these are the few areas which are getting receipts from the tourism. So in this we have like hotels and restaurants, then we have railway transport services, then we have transport services. In transport again there are different categories are there. Then we have shoppings also, then we have food and beverages, then wool, silk, synthetic fiber, textiles, then we have wood and wood products except for the furniture, then leather and leather products, then metal products except machinery and transport equipment, then trade and other services. So this was about the few areas, few industries which are indirectly related to the tourism. So this was all about, we have discussed in today's class, like we have discussed about the tourism industry. In tourism industry we have discussed what is tourism, why tourism is an industry, So different authors, they have given their opinions as per different authors and researchers. They have explained the tourism as an industry, why it is industry. Then we have discussed about the constituents of tourism industry. Like in constituents, we have discussed the primary constituents, and then we have discussed the secondary constituents. And primary constituents, we have discussed about the which primary, or we can say major constituents, like we have transportation, we have accommodation, we have food and beverages, then we have travel agents, tour and operators, then we have the government departments. Similarly, we have discussed about the secondary constituents. In secondary constituents, we have discussed like banks, how they indirectly helping the tourists. Then we have the hawkers and coolies, then we have porters, then these souvenirs sellers, etc. So how they're indirectly helping the tourist. So after discussing primary and secondary constituents, we will go in the next class, we will discuss about the tourism organization. That itself is a complete discussion. So we will carry on with in the next class about with the tourism organizations. Thank you.